Switzerland, a country that has almost no natural resources, no coal, oil, or natural gas. About a quarter of the country is either mountains, lakes, or rivers, and it's landlocked, and as far as the military is concerned, they haven't taken part in wars for over 400 years. But how did Switzerland we see today become so rich despite all these disadvantages? It names as one of the richest countries in the world, with one of the highest GDP per capita of over $80,000. Let's take a fresh tour of Switzerland. Switzerland is such a fantastic country because it's one where words like chaos and inflation are not typically used. Citizens and businesses around the world trust Switzerland and its institutions. Laws are clear, stable, and properly enforced. Consequently, the political environment is very stable and economic policies run years to years, even government changes, and there is no inflation at all. This stability attracts a lot of capital as investors feel confident in Switzerland, creating jobs and economic opportunity. Let's discuss a historic overview of Swiss economy. The myth that Switzerland was wealthy by the start of the 20th century lacked credibility. The Swiss economy started to take off around World War II. While other countries in Europe suffered total collapse due to the war, Switzerland's economy began to bloom. The country's decision to remain neutral in the war played a vital role in its economic success. World War II was a time of chaos, and Switzerland knows how to get opportunity at that time. Most countries went to war openly face to face, but Switzerland participated in the war behind the scenes. Thus, Switzerland started to supply weapons to all other neighboring countries which demanded. While others were busy fighting, Switzerland offered a safe place to store wealth. In short, Switzerland's decision not to directly engage in the war was its economic benefit at all. Nazis looted Jews from head to feet and stored it in Swiss banks. In fact, many rich Jews and other wealthy people stored their money in Swiss banks too. The Germans also sold looted gold to the Swiss in exchange for Swiss francs to buy steel from Nordic countries. The Swiss banks knew where the gold come from, but didn't object. Many people don't know Switzerland's dark history and believe what they see today. Years later, many of those bank accounts were forgotten, and no one came to claim them. It also became very hard for anyone else to withdraw that money once the original owner passed away. How much this contributed to Switzerland's economic success remains controversial, and no decision has been made until now. Talking about Switzerland without its banks is not fair. Let's discuss Swiss banks. Switzerland is popular for its bank secrecy in the world, where rich foreigners have stored large quantities of money, often to avoid taxes or safeguard properties from political instability in their home countries. A lot of European money from Germany, France, Italy, Spain, or Great Britain was deposited in Swiss banks. It is estimated that 1.5 trillion euros of unidentified European money is there in Swiss banks. Globally, the total money exceeds €2 trillion. Further, Switzerland became a financial haven for money for corrupt figures from Latin America, Asia, Middle East, and Russia, mainly due to political reasons or wars. For around 40 years, Switzerland held a strong position in the global financial map. In the 90s, bank secrecy in Switzerland, once a point of its financial system, is now fading away. Now external pressure, particularly from the USA and European countries, has changed Switzerland's stance on bank secrecy. Gradually time passes, and since 2009, bank secrecy only applies to Swiss citizens, and international citizens remain normal. The financial sector remains significant in Switzerland. In 2022, it contributed about 8.9% in country economy. Now talk about Switzerland's decentralized economy. Switzerland is also one of the most decentralized countries in the world. It's a combination of 26 cantons, and each has its own fiscal autonomy, each have its own unique flag. Like Switzerland, Canada, and the United States have also high autonomy for their provinces or states. This decentralization boosts competition between cantons, which compete with each other to attract businesses and individuals around the world by setting their own tax rates and policies. This makes Switzerland a very attractive place for businesses and residents alike. These cantons produces nearly 25% of country's income. These individual cantons are quite autonomous. They can make detailed rules with respect to their territory and people demand. In one canton, smoking marijuana might result in a fine. In another, it could lead to a prison term. This means each canton has its own government and constitution.